Okay. All right. So we have the isosceles right triangle theorem. All right. And what you're going to notice is that a lot of this right here that we're doing today is based off of formulas. Okay. So I actually want to draw a picture first. So we're going to draw an isosceles right triangle. Okay. Let's mark that as our right angle. Now, isosceles means that the legs have to be congruent. Okay. Obviously, a leg and a hypotenuse can't be congruent because the hypotenuse has to be the biggest side. Okay. But the two legs are congruent. Now, because the two legs are congruent, we also know that because it's isosceles, these two angles right here have to be congruent, which means that they're both 45. So this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Okay. Now, like I said, this is our hypotenuse, and then these are our legs. All right. So all of this is then going to be combined, all right, into one formula. Okay. So in a isosceles right triangle, okay, the formula that we have is that the hypotenuse is equal to the square root of 2 times the leg. So that note card that I told you guys to have for like 8.1 and 8.2, I would bring it back out, all right, because you're going to have 3 more formulas today, okay? Oh, I don't know where that went. So the hypotenuse is equal to square root of 2 times the leg. Okay. Let's look at our first example. So in this example, we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, all right, which means it's a special right triangle, okay? 4 is going to be a leg, and x is going to be our hypotenuse. So we're trying to find x. So I'm going to rewrite that formula. So the hypotenuse is equal to square root of 2 times the leg. Okay. Our hypotenuse is x, so I'm going to plug in x in for my hypotenuse, is equal to the square root of 2 times 4. Okay. Now, I don't love the way that that looks with that times 4 in the back, all right? So I'm going to just rearrange it, and my final answer is just simply x is equal to 4 times the square root of 2. And that's your final answer. Pretty easy, okay? Let's try the next one. So once again, it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. All right. Our x, once again, is our hypotenuse. And then our 7 root 2 is our leg. Okay. So we're going to do hypotenuse is equal to the square root of 2 times the leg. Our hypotenuse is x, which is equal to the square root of 2 times 7 times the square root of 2. Okay, so if I multiply the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 together, all right, I'm going to take the long way. You're going to get 7 times the square root of 4. All right, square root of 4 is equal to 2, so you get 7 times 2, which means that that hypotenuse is equal to 14. And that's your final answer. All right. So on both of those ones were pretty easy because we were given the leg and we had to find the hypotenuse. All right, for these next two, we're given the hypotenuse and then we have to find our legs, okay? So this time, our x is going to represent our leg and our 12 is going to represent our hypotenuse. All right, so if I write down that formula again, hypotenuse is equal to square root of 2 times the leg. All right, the 12 is going to go in for my hypotenuse is equal to the square root of 2 times x. Okay, so I'm going to divide by the square root of 2. And this brings us back to the start of this lesson, all right, where remember, you're not allowed to have that radical on the bottom, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to rationalize it. So I'm going to have 12 over the square root of 2, and I'm going to multiply by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. And if I multiply straight across, I'm going to get 12 times the square root of 2 all over. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. All right, looking at my diagonals, the 12 and the 2, all right, I'm going to get 6. So x is equal to 6 times the square root of 2. All right, so just a little bit extra algebra for that. Let's do one more of those, okay? All right, same idea. We have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. All right, 18 is my hypotenuse, and x is my leg. Okay? All right, so with our formula, hypotenuse is equal to the square root of 2 times the leg. All right, our hypotenuse is 18, which is equal to the square root of 2 times x. I'm going to divide out the square root of 2, and then we're going to have to rationalize, okay? So what I have is 18 times the square root of 2 over 2. Oh, sorry. Whoopsie. 18 over the square root of 2. I'm going to multiply by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. Multiplying straight across, I get 18 times the square root of 2 over the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. All right, looking at the 18 and the 2, both of those are out of the radical. All right, that becomes x is equal to 9 times the square root of 2. And that's your final answer.